Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. In today's video, I'm gonna show you the fourth and so far last dupe I could find, which promises to be the best dupe on the market available. In today's video is gonna be the Bad Habit Athena palette. When I say available, unfortunately I have to add that it has been discontinued. You can still find brand new ones, just like I did. You can find them on Amazon, eBay, Depop. Wherever you go, you will probably be able to find one, but the stock is very limited. I was really debating whether I should include this palette as one of the possible dupes, but it's just such a good palette that I couldn't not include it. The original Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette looks like this, as you guys probably know by now. It's absolutely gorgeous. The shades are absolutely gorgeous as well. The only problem is that it's not really the best performing palette as far as shimmers, toppers and glitters go. The matte shades are all amazing. The other ones are not that much. So overall, it's definitely not one of Huda's best palettes, but I love the idea of the shades, so that's why I'm on hunt of a good dupe that probably performs better than this. Let's see if today's dupe is the one or not. The original Huda Beauty palette retails for £56, which is quite a lot. It is made in Italy and it contains 25.2 grams of products in 18 pans. The Bad Habit Athena palette contains 18 grams of product, so it is less than the original one, and it also doesn't have a mirror, which makes it significantly lighter than the original one. It was made in the People's Republic of China and it used to retail for $10. Whilst it was available, I think that is an amazing price. The one on the top is the original palette, the one on the bottom is the Athena one. As you can see, the shades are in slightly different order, but you have exactly the same shades. They do all appear to be exactly the same color, the same darkness, the same undertone, everything. When you apply it on your arm using finger swatches, when you apply them on the eye, the shades in the Bad Habit palette, especially the matte shades, seem to be more red tone, so they are not as cool toned as the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette shades are. However, once you apply everything, it really balances itself out. For example, today I used the shade Mask, and the dupe of Mask is the shade Truth, which looks a lot darker in the pan, but in real life it's not. However, it is more red. Also the shade Oud, the dupe of that is the shade Clever, which again looks somewhat darker in the pan. In reality, it is actually a little bit lighter and more red toned. But overall, I would say that my biggest complaint of the Bad Habit palette is that, just like most of the other dupes on the market, the matte shades don't seem to build up. This is a really common theme, so it's honestly not just this palette, it's 99% of the dupe palettes. For some reason at this price point, it's really hard to make a good matte shade that's blendable and also buildable. Most of them seem to apply really well at first, when you don't have any eyeshadow on the skin yet, but they don't apply well on top of each other, and once you try to blend them out, everything just blends away. So like I said, this is nothing new. It's unfortunately a very common theme with these dupe palettes. And whilst the Bad Habit palette didn't seem to have that issue at first when I was doing finger swatches, when I was creating this eye makeup look, I did have problem using the matte shades. The shimmery shades, on the other hand, performed absolutely amazing, and I honestly wish that the original Huda Beauty palette had shimmery shades like these, because I would appreciate the palette much more if it did. Let me just show you a couple of examples. So one of the most interesting shades when you first look at the palette is the shade Retrograde. This is supposed to be a shimmery duochrome shade that is brown with some blue sheen to it. Unfortunately, the original one is really underwhelming. But when you take the Athena version, the shade is called Gleam by the way, it immediately appears to be a lot more pigmented, a lot more shiny. The base of a shade is a bit more red tone, again just like almost all of the shades in the Athena palette. However, you cannot even compare them. The Athena version is so gorgeous, and like I said, the Desert Dusk version is just not satisfying at all. Another example could be the shade Nefertiti from the Desert Dusk palette. It looks like this. When you first look at it in the palette, it looks like a beautiful golden shade with some glitter in it, but once you apply it, you do see a bit of glitter, but the shade itself is not shimmery at all. It's just like a weird bronze shade with some glitter in it. On the other hand though, you take the shade from the Athena palette, immediately the feel of it is better, it's shinier, it still has that glitter, but it just makes sense to have glitter in a shiny shade. I've never seen a matte shade with glitter in it before. I think this just looks very, very strange. So yeah, once again, much better in the Bad Habit palette. And the shade I used today to create this eye makeup look is called Kashmir. It's not a bad shade, but again, it's just not shimmery enough. It just looks like a silky color instead of a shimmery one. It's just not what it seems to be based on the pan. On the other hand, you take the Bad Habit version of the shade, and it's just so much more shiny, pigmented. Oh, it's a gorgeous color. So if you couldn't tell yet, I love the shimmery shades in the Athena palette. I think they're absolutely gorgeous and 1,000 times better than the Huda Beauty ones. On the other hand, unfortunately, the matte shades are again not really good. Nevertheless, it just retails for so much less than the Huda Beauty palette does. I personally think that the Athena palette is a lot better value for the money, even though you cannot build up the dark shades. I don't think you can tell the difference today. The Athena one might fail here and there, but once your eye makeup is completed, no one will be able to tell that you're only using a dupe, and the shimmery shades will actually pop a lot more than they would from the Huda Beauty palette. So I would honestly say that the Athena palette is an amazing value for your money. Obviously, it's not going to be available forever, seeing how it's already discontinued. There is a limited stock available. If you can, definitely pick it up. If you cannot, then the second best thing you have on the market is probably going to be the You Can Be Twilight and Dusk version, which we tested out the last time. It wasn't a bad palette at all. In fact, the performance was very, very similar to this one. However, I feel like the Bad Habit one, just a bit creamier, just a bit shinier, just a bit nicer to work with. But the You Can Be one is definitely going to be available for a while. You Can Be is honestly thriving and they're making amazing eyeshadow palettes. So if you haven't tried anything from them yet, you definitely should. Without further ado, let's jump right into creating this eye makeup look, and once we're done with it, I will tell you my final thoughts about these two palettes. Alright, so the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette is gonna go on this side of the face, and the Bad Habit Athena palette is gonna go on this side of the face. I have already primed my face with the MAC Painterly Paint Pot, so now I'm gonna add shadow shields before we start the application. And as always, I'm going to start every time on the Huda Beauty side, because this is the palette we're comparing the dupe to. The first shade I'm going to take is going to be Mask, and I apply this shade on the crease and the outer V. This is one of the best performing matte shades in this Huda Beauty palette. It's not patchy at all. It's really pigmented and easy to blend, so it's a real joy to work with. The application is really easy and foolproof. In the Athena palette, this shade is called Truth. It doesn't look as grey, it's almost like it has more brown in it. It's still a really gorgeous shade though. And I feel like it goes on really easily, like it's super pigmented. I'm gonna need to try to build it up though, because I feel like at first it went on really easily, but it has no depth to it, like you can't really get it darker. It just stays the initial color, which is not good news. Yeah, unfortunately it looks like you can apply the shade anywhere where you don't have it yet and it's gonna be super pigmented, but you can't get it deeper. Like you can definitely see on this side I have darker and lighter areas, and on this side I just have the same color all over. Obviously we shall see if later on that's gonna be balanced out by the other colors, but so far the pigmentation is amazing, but it doesn't seem to be buildable, which is a big bummer. After this I want to take a little bit of Eden on the same brush and just warm up this grey shade a little bit, especially above the crease. On the Athena side the color is called Velour. Oh, okay, again it's super pigmented. Be careful with these shades. I almost have too much color payoff on this side. To fix that issue I'm gonna take some of desert sand and I will apply it under my brow bone. This is not as important on the Huda side as it is on the other side, because here the shadow is almost touching my brow now. So on the Athena side I'm gonna take the shade Purity. Wow, again super pigmented, even this color. Okay, I definitely think that helped a little bit. We still want to darken up the outer corner more, and the only darker brown shade in this palette is a shade called Oud. So I'm gonna take a little bit of that and try to darken up the outer corner. Obviously this shade is a lot more rich than Musk. Musk is a really neutral color, so we are going to need to blend back this rich chocolate brown color into Musk later on and try to play with the two shades to make Oud appear like a darker gray shade instead of brown. But for now I'm just going to darken up my outer corner and then blend it with my blending brush and apply a bit more again. To do the same thing on the Athena side we're gonna need to take the shade Clever. Clever seem to have quite a lot of fallout. The dupe of Oud appears to be lighter and again maybe a bit more red than the original, but if you don't know that they are two different palettes you really couldn't tell. I'm gonna go off camera now and I'm gonna prepare the half cut crease. And now that the cut crease is ready, I'm gonna take the shade Kashmir and apply all over the concealer. Kashmir is a pressed pearl shade and it's actually one of the best performing shades in this palette. On the Athena side, this shade is called Triumph. Triumph actually seems to be a lot shinier than Kashmir. I'm gonna try to take some of the shade Kashmir with my finger and see if it's shinier if I apply it that way. No, Triumph it's still a lot shinier. I'm gonna pick up some of the shade Musk again and apply it to the edge of the shimmery shade to kind of try to blend it together with the darker shade. I also top the darker shade with this in order to make it appear a bit more gray. You can take your time to blend and wiggle around here a little bit because it might not appear to be doing anything at first. Once again, on the Athena side, this color is called Truth. And because the Athena side is so pigmented, it seems to be doing it much quicker. However, when I try to apply it on top of the dark shade, which is called Clever, I feel like it's removing that one. So it's almost like I have a big empty patch here, whilst the other side is looking a lot better. Okay, so I think we definitely have some more darkening to do on the outer corners, especially on the dupe side. I want to take a mixture of Oud and Musk and just apply it to the outer corner. So on the Bad Habit side, the mixture is gonna be Clever and Truth. I don't see why would they now apply better than before, but I'm gonna try to almost pat them on instead of blend them. As you guys can see, I removed the shadow shield now, so we can carry on applying the colors under the eye. I'm gonna take a shade Musk and I'm gonna apply it all over under the eye. Once again, on the Athena side, this shade is called Truth. Unfortunately, we don't really have a nice lighter shade to pop in the inner corner, so instead I'm gonna use my highlighter to apply it to the inner corner. So we are done with the eye makeup look. I'm gonna go off camera now. I'm gonna apply my eyeliner, my mascara, lipstick and some highlighter in the inner corner, and then I'm gonna be back. So this is the finished makeup look. Once again, this is the original Huda Beauty side and this is the Bad Habit side. I still think that the matte shades are a million times better in the Huda Beauty palette. Okay, maybe not a million times, but they are better. They are buildable. You can control how dark you want it to be and they just apply really beautifully. They're very blendable. Even if they first feel chalky or dry in the pan, once you apply them on the eye, they are absolutely stunning and they're really, really long lasting. However, the shimmery shades are not really good, unfortunately, in the Huda Beauty palette. I wish they were, because if they were, it would be a 5-star eyeshadow palette. The idea behind the shades is perfection, but the performance of most of them, especially the topper shades, are just not there. On the other hand, the Bad Habit palette made all of the shimmery shades spot on. They are gorgeous. I actually feel like they are the way Huda intended them to be. So it's really hard. It's definitely the best Desert Dusk dupe out there. Unfortunately, as I said before, it's not available for sale anymore. You can still pick it up on eBay, Amazon or Depop if you are lucky, but it's not available to purchase on the official website, and I feel like soon we are going to run out of stock of the brand new palettes you can purchase. However, if you can, then it's a gorgeous palette. I will definitely try to hunt down some more Bad Habit dupes. I know they did a lot of Anastasia dupes. I know they did a lot of Pat McGrath dupes. So I really, really wanna have those because they seem amazing. So yes, this was the very last video in this Desert Dusk dupe series. We are next going to move on to the Jeffree Star Blue Blood palette, and right after that we are gonna jump into the Blood Sugar palette dupes. So stay tuned if you are interested in finding a great dupe for those palettes. Definitely subscribe because they are coming very soon. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also check my playlist. I had tons of videos like this in the past. I have also had 3 other Desert Dusk palette dupes. So if you want something that's not discontinued yet, check those out. Maybe you find another one you're interested in. Until next time, take care of yourself. I will see you very soon. Bye.
I know it's been a while. I know you're thinking the same.